Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
And here's your news break with Logan.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to my show. Sorry I wasn't here last week. I was gone. I don't know. And now we have Nintendo Black Friday. It's on sale. No, it isn't. It's still the same price. Ninja hates the NFL. We'll talk about that later, so stay tuned.
That has been your news break with Logan. All right, welcome to a Horrible Gaming Podcast, episode 19. This is today. Let's go into disclaimers. Good start. We don't get paid for this, obviously. We don't make any money off this, so we're not going to edit it because, you just heard that we haven't edited it. Yeah, and then let's go into credits because I am super tongue-tied and tired, and this is going to be a real hard show.
We're both really, really tired.
Dude, this is rough. I made some poor choices with video gaming last night, but we'll get into that all later. I want to, before I miss it again, credits. You just heard the theme song at the top of the show. That is written and performed by my brother, the very talented Nicholas Van Sliders. We'd like to thank him for that. The graphic that you saw at the top of the show and any original graphics that we use on the shows are done by Mark Bell, and we always want to thank him for that. So yeah, sorry about that disclaimer. This was the worst disclaimers I've ever done. I am very tired because the Black Veil Val Hazak in Monster Hunter World needed slaying last night, and that took me way too late. Way too late. Then you pile on the fact that we have been working on our next show all week this week.
Yep.
I do want to just take this time before we get too into fan interaction. Next week is a special show, ladies and gentlemen. It is our Horrible Gaming Awards show. We have special presenters chosen from our fans and contributors, and we will be presenting, I believe it's 8 awards. That no one cares about because we're a horrible podcast with 63 subscribers.
Yes.
But still, we have been working tirelessly on that to put those segments together for next week. So that's our next show next week. The audio version will be up before the actual Game Awards, and our YouTube version will be up the day after. And I'm pretty sure this is probably, I know it's the first time we've done an award show ever, but I think our awards are better than the VGAs so far.
We're better than them.
Just calling it out. Jeff Keighley, we know you don't listen, but we're better than you. We're challenging you to a game award off. It's like a dance contest, but it's who presents better. Okay. Everybody out there, it's going to be a silly show. We have back-to-back recordings for the second show next week, plus we're super tired, so just bear with us. Let's go into fan interaction. So, last week was kind of a special week in the fact that Logan had some personal business that kept him from being on the show. So last minute, I asked ATW, Neil, a tiny wizard, to step in and help us out. And he did not disappoint. We want to thank you, Neil. He literally got like 8 hours notice right before he was going to go to sleep that we needed somebody on the show. And he stepped up, and I thought it was a pretty good show. So thank you, Neil. Thank you to you for helping us out with that.
Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you so much.
And we are not the only people who thanked you. Longtime friends of the show, Kev Too Tall and Thor, both said ditto on the props. That was well done, and fat props to ATW. So, thank you, sir. We asked the question last week Didn't get a ton of responses, but we did get a couple, and we're going to talk about ours. The question was, what was the first video game you ever won, you ever beat, you ever rolled credits on? ATW, of course, didn't let us down. He commented and said, first game I ever beat was Super Mario World for the SNES. I was a tender age of 7 years old, and I was super excited. Still one of the best games I've ever played. He also did want to say to everybody, also thanks to everyone in the comments for being so supportive. He was happy to contribute. Thank you for the comment too, Neil. So, Logan, first game you ever beat, I'm ready to feel old.
Oh, everyone's about to feel so old. World at War. Call of Duty World at War.
Oh my God, that came out yesterday. Jesus. Oh, good.
It was either that or it was Pokemon Emerald.
Oh man, World at War. Holy crap. Okay. All right. Fond memories of beating that the first time. How old were you when you beat that the first time, so that I can just go hang myself right after we're done?
Oh, I wanna say like 7.
Jesus Christ. You were 7 when you were beating World at War. Good God.
I think I was like 7. Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, sometimes I think about it, man.
Games.
I don't, like, against all odds, we're like best friends. Because, like, we literally come from different worlds. Like, the planet Earth you live on is completely different from the planet Earth that I live on, just because we're so separated in age. It shocks me.
Oh, exactly.
First game I ever beat was the original. Now, this is very special to me. It's one of the reasons I asked the question. When we were younger, my brother. One thing you should know about me and my brother is good at everything he does, and I'm not insulting him. He's not arrogant about it at all. But like, if he's like, hey, I'm going to do this thing today, he just does it better than anybody else you've ever met do it. Period. So when we were kids, this applied also to video games. We would play Nintendo, and I would be playing along with him. We would take turns, like even if it wasn't a 2-player game, we'd just like trade off every hour. But we would play our own games, and there would always be a point where I would get stuck and I couldn't move forward, and he would continue to go forward. So I would just say, okay, you just keep playing. I'm going to watch you so I can see the end of it. So I didn't beat my first game for a long time because at some point Nick always surpassed me in the gaming, and then I would just end up watching him so that I could see the ending, and then not going back to playing it myself. I know, this is long-winded. This is important to me story. So, as much as you've probably guessed from the tone of this story, there was a game called DuckTales for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and anybody who's old enough to know what the fuck that is will say it was a classic. Absolute classic game. My brother fell behind on that one. It's the only one he has ever fallen behind on. The only one. And I was actually the one who beat that one, because I was the one who could actually get farther, and I ended up beating that game before he did. I think it was like the second or third time we had rented it, but that still like holds this spot in my heart, because it was the first time that I was like, oh, I can beat these, because before that it was always like, I like playing them, but I'm never going to be able to beat them. And then like I beat that one and I was like, oh, I can do this. And then from that point on, I could beat games as well. But yeah. And like I said, there's no insult to my brother. He's just one of those dudes that, I don't know if you've ever met one of those dudes, Logan.
Yeah, I have.
That's just like, he's like, oh, I've never done a backflip before. I guess I'll do it. And then he just backflips. And you're like, what the fuck was that? How did you do that? I don't understand. Like, my brother's like, you know what? I think I'm going to play guitar. And now he does our theme song. Like, okay. So we need to ask a fan interaction question. You got any ideas? Because I'm lost today.
I do
you know
not
what?
have one.
Hold on. If you do have an idea, hold it, because we're not gonna be doing a fan interaction next week.
Oh, well, that just saved both of us then.
What?
That just saved both of our asses then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's no point in it because we're going to be doing the special award show. And sorry to everybody out there. We will do fan interaction again on episode 21. It's just next week's episode is going to be totally insane bonkers. It's already going to be long, so we're not going to do a fan interaction on it.
The fan interaction is to go watch the show.
Yeah. Watch the show. All right, so for our first official topic of the day, I wanted to take a little moment to talk about VR and the state of VR. The main reason I want to do this is because it's been kind of announced that even with the new, what's it called? It's not the Oculus Rift. It's the one. What?
I thought it was the Oculus Rift.
There is an Oculus Rift, but the new one that they just came out with that's like wireless, that's really easy to use, isn't called the Rift. It's called something else, and now I can't for the life of me.
Anyways, it's VR.
Right. It's VR, and I wanted to talk about that for a second because Phil Spencer made an interesting comment that it's the Oculus Quest. I had to look it up. That's how crazy
That's exactly what I was looking up.
It's the Oculus Quest. Okay, so Phil Spencer made this crazy thing. He basically said they asked him about Scarlet and whether VR functionality was on it or going to come to it. And he basically said, look, nobody's asking for VR. I don't see any reason to put VR out there because nobody seems to want it or use it. And I got to say, he makes some good points, and I think this is a really interesting period because personally, I think VR is the next step in video gaming, but it doesn't seem nobody seems to want to take it.
I gotta. Well, it seems like a lot of people just can't afford it, I guess.
Well, that's true. While it has gotten cheaper than it's ever been, it's within striking range of normal people. It's still pretty expensive. You're looking at $800.
Oh, exactly. That's at the striking distance, but it's still not
Right.
Ooh, and also, a lot of people get motion sickness and stuff like that from it. So it's not a for sure I'm gonna love this.
Right.
So you're spending $800 to go into a field that you have no idea about.
Well, and that's something that really bothers me is I'm a dude who experiences motion sickness like nobody's business. Long car rides do it to me. I can't watch 3D movies. I get motion sickness real easy. I have never tried the VR, but I can only assume that it would be rough because of my natural proclivities to it. That's another thing. They're because of that motion sickness, they're even players who aren't sensitive to the motion sickness should only play this for a half an hour to an hour before taking a break. Can you imagine one video game that you play for an hour and put down?
I really couldn't. No.
It's just not the way video games are made now. It's funny to me when somebody's like, "Oh, you can just play that for a little bit." No, you can't. You can't play anything for a little bit unless it's a 2D side scroller. But even some of those are well, I'm in this. I'm in this now for an hour and a half,
Yeah, no, I don't understand people that are just yeah, I'm just gonna get on this for 20 minutes and then I'll just jump off. It's what?
Right. Destiny 2's loading screens are 20 minutes.
I'll jump on for a day.
Right. That's how I look at it too. When I'm playing video games, it's I have to make a decision when I wake up. What games am I playing in the periods that I'm playing it? And it's never more than 2.
Exactly. If I sit down, it's probably one game for 3 hours.
Right. I think too that VR hasn't gotten they love to say killer app, but I don't even want to say a killer app. It hasn't gotten the game that makes you want to play because it doesn't have the memory capacity. At least from my understanding, what attracts people into game, a good majority of people into gamings are those big, massive, open world, exciting things like
Flashy.
Red Dead Redemption 2 and stuff like that. And I mean, I know Skyrim is on VR, and it's the only thing that makes me want to try a VR because I think that would be cool. But other than that, I can't think of anything that's like this big open world AAA experience in VR. So why would I spend $800 to get motion sickness playing Beat Saber, you know?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Phil Spencer's right to avoid VR, but at the same time, we're kind of in an interesting spot with video games, and I think that, like, personally, like, I want the new system. I'm excited about the new system, but I don't need, like, other than the SSD, which I think is going to be a big advancement in gaming. What else are they really going to offer that is that substantially better? I mean, yeah, better graphics, but the graphics are pretty freaking phenomenal already. I don't want these things looking human. Like,
All right.
like I want it to still be a video game. So, like, what are they really going to offer on these systems that are that much better? You even talk about backwards compatibility and library investing being such a big part of the next console generation. Like, Xbox Scarlet doesn't even really, to me, like, they keep saying it's a new generation. It doesn't feel like a new generation to me. It doesn't feel like one at all. We're going to talk about it a little bit in the next segment, too. But it feels like they're just like, I don't know. It feels like the next thing of Xbox One X, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else to say on VR? Because we'll segue into the next one with that one, if not.
VR, please keep making horror games. Your horror games are great. Please just like Zach just said, come out with a real banger. Come out with something that's gonna draw people to it. And also, you just gotta work on your technology, and maybe you'll become more relevant.
Right.
Maybe Elon Musk will take you on.
So back on the next console generation subject, specifically Cyberpunk has recently announced that there will not be an up-resed version of Cyberpunk for the new systems, Scarlet, PS5, it's just going to be the Cyberpunk that's coming out in April. That's going to be the Cyberpunk they're presenting. They said that there'll probably be a special edition somewhere down the line, but not anytime soon. So anyway, I think that they have said that there's no new version. Now, Phil Spencer has come out and said that, hey, Scarlett's going to be able to play everything that's on Xbox One, so it doesn't matter. And I'm inclined to believe him. Why do we need an up-res version? I mean, there's been kind of an outcry from what I've noticed, at least on the IGN podcast, as they want this up-res version. Why? Like, it's going to be a great game, and you don't have to buy it twice. I don't understand why people want to buy it twice. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, would you have to buy it twice, or would it just be, like, once it goes in the new system, then it's just better?
Oh, well, and that's the thing.
That version.
I mean, from what I understand, if they do, probably what they'll do, since they're not releasing this year, probably what they'll do is they'll wait till like 3 or 4 DLCs come out, and then they'll do like a Game of the Year edition. So like anybody who didn't buy it and has a newer system can go buy it with all the DLCs, and that'll be the value. Kind of what they did with Skyrim.
Yeah.
But what they want is they wanted it to like come out for Scarlet on its own, so that when you buy it, the Scarlet version, it gives you those 4K graphics and all the up-resing and all that stuff. Like it's optimized for the newer systems, the newer specs.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. What do we really want out of these new systems? Like, the only thing I care about right now is that SSD. That's what I want. That's what I want out of the new systems. And that will work on everything you put in there. Like, you're not gonna have loading times on Xbox One games because the SSD takes care of loading times, period. So you're getting that addition no matter what. Why do we need an optimized, graphically superior version of it when we're so good on the graphics already? You know what I mean?
No, I definitely hear you. I definitely hear you on that.
And it speaks to the game systems as a whole, and it's something that's been bothering me a little bit Like, it's one thing when we were moving from Nintendo 64 to PlayStation, when we were getting these huge upgraded graphics, these huge upgraded playabilities, moving from 2D to 3D. Like, that kind of stuff was special and bigger, but we've gotten to a point where even after 5 years, it's an incremental upgrade. And I don't, like, Scarlet's really expensive. I'm thinking about purchasing Scarlet because I'm still playing on an Xbox One, original, out of the, like, day one edition. So that sucker's got to die sometime soon.
True.
So I want to upgrade to that. I want the SSD, but like but you get all the games from Xbox One, so I don't understand why you want. I don't know. I don't know why you want to buy a game twice. I guess I sound like an old man right now.
No, even from like the younger perspective on it, I just I wouldn't want to buy a game twice. I don't see too much positive in getting it like enhanced, but
Right.
That's just my perspective.
Right. Well, and Xbox has been very committed to saying that like even the games that come out with Scarlet will be playable on the One.
Mm-hmm.
At least for the foreseeable future. I'm sure there will have to be a point at some point that they do a cutoff and they're like, we just can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But it just bothers me that, like, I don't know. I almost don't understand the point of console generations anymore. Like, I understand they build hype and they sell systems, but we're at a point where, like, I would rather it almost work like phones. Not as shitty as phones, because phones work
Like
pretty
you trade
shitty.
in.
But yeah, I would rather every 2 years we get a new system. All the systems can play all the games. It's just how well it can play the games, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think I was the only person when they were talking about, like, when the X came out and everybody was talking about possibly there's no more console generations. I think I was the only person who was like, that's awesome. That's what I want. I don't want to have to worry about dropping $500 to be part of the conversation anymore, you know?
Oh, I definitely agree, because if you don't buy that next game, where are you?
Right.
You know?
Right. Especially now, like, now I'm on, doing this channel and stuff, and it's like, that's why I was talking to my wife. Previously, I've never bought a system in the first year. I almost always wait 6 months to a year to buy the system just to see the kinks get worked out and stuff like that. Plus, usually there's no games for a new system.
Usually.
But like this one, I need to buy that new system. I need to be part of the conversation. Like, I'm running a game channel. I have to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And I would just rather just like be able to every 2 years do that than like once every 5 years you've got to buy this huge system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I think it would be better for the business too, but that's my thoughts.
I don't think it would be better for the business, but I definitely think that would be much better for the consumer.
It would definitely be better for the consumer. I feel like it would be better for the business because every 2 years you'd have something big to show off. Like every 2 years you could say, look at this, the Xbox Tutti Frutti, oh, this year it's the Xbox blah, 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 blah. You'd have something for every conference. Every conference you didn't have something, you could be like, look at our new system thingamajigger. It runs things at 7766 faster than the previous 77,
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be beneficial, but I don't know. I feel like that's the move we need to make in the console industry, but I understand that console releases generate a lot of money for people. It's just, I don't know. I don't like them anymore.
So Zach, Ninja did it again.
Oh God.
We thought he couldn't become more of an ignorant gamer, and he said, hold my beer.
Ugh.
He came out and said on Twitter after a Friday Night Football game, how can kickers miss kicks? I feel that there are 30 plus people in the world that are just so good that they just won't miss kicks. I don't know how people that miss kicks are hired. Stuff like that on Twitter.
Good God.
Well, he obviously got backlash, and he just and he asked for it in his tweet. He asked for feedback. He goes, "Can I get some feedback on this? Like, I'm just confused by it." So he obviously got a bunch of trolls like upset with him and all that, but then he got like an actually pretty helpful one that just said basically, "Hey, I don't know how people that play Fortnite can miss shots. I feel like professional Fortnite players shouldn't miss shots."
Right.
And that makes sense. Like, yeah, that's a relevant argument. Well, Ninja, I think, took it the wrong way or something, got really mad, said that's a shitty argument. Fortnite players have to build, shoot, edit, all this stuff, and that's just so dumb. It's just such a dumb argument.
Yeah, I got a lot of things to say on this subject. You let me know when I can start yelling.
I'm still going, and he kept going. He kept going and said that's a really shitty argument, and then continued to go and said all kickers do is have to kick. All they have to do is kick. I have to do all this other stuff. All they have to do is kick. That's a horrible argument.
It's the worst. It's absolutely God. Keep going. I don't want to interrupt you.
How could you ever think that? Just it's like I'm a gamer and I play sports, and they both have their type of strategy. Just I don't feel like you could really put them side by side and be like,
dude,
yeah, okay, because like I don't want to go full in on that because yeah, I've been gaming for a long time and I've played basketball for a long time. Just the gaming thing. You're sitting on your ass gaming. I'm sorry. It's really fun. It's challenging. I go really hard sometimes, and it's strenuous.
Right.
But I will not compare it to running 3 miles every day.
First of all, they shouldn't be compared. They're apples and oranges. But, like,
yeah, exactly.
If you're going to compare them, and you want to say, like, Fortnite players have to do this, and they have to build, and they have to shoot. First of all, anything in this world, I can list a ton of factors that go into that thing. You can't say, well, you've got to do this, and this as a Fortnite player. Kickers just kick. Kickers also have the wind. They have different yardage to factor in. They have the defense to factor in. They have all the players on the field to factor in. They have the snap to factor in. You can list factors. Like, you could do that with anything. I could do that with anything. I could say, well, running the country is nothing. All you do is sit at a desk and write on a piece of paper. Now, playing Fortnite, I got to do this, and this. See? I can make anything look shitty that way.
Oh, Zach, I'm not even done. I'm gonna.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna keep cooking.
I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time waiting on this one. Continue. I apologize.
He then, after getting a bunch of backlash, obviously he's going to get backlash on that.
Yeah, and he should.
Especially since he came out and asked people, like, for opinions on it, and then when he got an actually good opinion, he just completely got pissed. So then he comes out and basically try to play the victim role and goes, wow, what I've learned today is just don't ask the internet anything unless you want to get roasted. And that's just so sad.
Oh my God.
It's just so sad.
I'm waiting for Mixer to come out and say we regret our purchase. Yeah, it's just shameful. It's just shameful. I don't know. I'm back on the physical thing. I think there is a difference. Like, it's apples and oranges. I think they're both difficult, but they're difficult in their own way. And I think to say that, like I don't necessarily want to say video gaming or even professional video gaming is just sitting on your ass. I mean, you do a lot of sitting on your ass, but there's a very mental part of it. It's just,
I agree.
Right. It's a different set of incoming factors. Like with video gaming, the factors are almost entirely mental and hand-eye coordination. Whereas with playing games, they're not all mental, but there is a ton of adverse physical factors, like being not a fat bastard like I am, being able to run, or, defenders or other people's skill, stuff like that. So to, like, not only did he downplay and insult kickers and the NFL, but he downplayed and insulted people who don't play Fortnite by saying that Fortnite is that amazing. And I'm not saying Fortnite's bad, but like, he just makes everybody look bad, and it's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts.
Yes.
Driving me nuts.
Well, Fortnite's the hardest game to play on the planet ever. Ever. There's no argument.
I still think it's harder to play PUBG. I still do. PUBG is brutal. I want to speak instead to Ninja. Instead of speaking to Ninja this time, because he's a lost goddamn cause, I want to speak to the rest of the world. Rest of the world, NFL fans, if you're listening to this, which I know you're not. People who go outside and run, if you're listening to this, which I definitely know you're not. He doesn't speak for us. I don't know how he ended up getting to be the guy that became our front runner, but gamers aren't like this. Please don't judge us based on this idiot getting on Twitter and saying stupid stuff about stupid things. It's deplorable. It's deplorable. He should set a better example. Even if he doesn't like football, even if he thinks kickers are assholes, he should stop and he should think to himself, oh, I'm the most recognized video game player in the world. Maybe I shouldn't say a bunch of insulting shit on Twitter.
Actually, it would have been different because the first tweet, it was like, okay, yeah, he's saying something, celebs say stuff all the time, he's just going to take his backlash and move on with life. Nobody would have cared.
Right.
Honestly, everybody would have kind of taken it as a joke, it's a little bit lightly, but then he came back at him so hard. He took it as, a personal vendetta.
Right, right.
And the whole, how dare you?
What I've learned today is never ask the internet anything or I'm going to get roasted. Yep. First of all, never ask the internet anything or you're going to get roasted. What is this, your first day on planet Earth?
Actually, though.
You make all your money on the internet. That's how you make your money, is comments on the internet. People subscribing to you. How in the name of the good Lord could you possibly think that you weren't going to get roasted for saying this? It's like, Jesus, man, you got 8 years of experience on this.
Actually, though, also, he is very soon after, about 3 hours after he tweeted that, deleted every tweet or anything to do with that tweet.
Well, and good, he shouldn't have said it in the first place. It's like an accountant saying, man, I can't believe accounting was going to have all these numbers in it. What a fucking idiot.
What a fucking idiot.
All right, we're going to end the show on a happier note. Logan was not here last week, so he didn't get to do the fantasy corner, and unfortunately, Neil has every freaking system, so he didn't really get to do the fantasy corner, so I figured I didn't want to be the only person who did that fantasy corner. So, here's the rules, Logan. You can have any system. This includes the VRs, this includes the PC. Any of the main ways to play video games, you can afford it, and you're going to get one of them that isn't one that you already have. You can factor in the price. You can say, I don't want it because it's too expensive, but you could afford it if you wanted to for the purposes of this hypothetical. Last week, I said there was no end to my hypocrisy, and I said Nintendo Switch would be the one that I would pick. What's yours?
PC.
PC.
Zach's heard me talk about this 1,000 times over.
I should have known.
And I've contemplated not even getting Project Scarlet because I want a PC.
They're just so expensive to start, though.
It's so expensive to start, but then it's cheaper in the long run.
I don't know if I buy that. I really want to have a PC person on and like really talk to them. One of these days, I'm sure one of our fans is a PC person. One of these days, we're gonna get a PC person on and talk PC stuff, because like you got to keep upgrading those things.
Well, yeah, but even the upgrades are way cheaper than buying an entire new console.
Yeah, but like, okay, in defense, I'm sorry, I'm totally being a jerk and like calling you out. I'm not trying to do that. It's like your fantasy corner. I should just be shutting up.
Yeah, this is my fantasy, Zach. What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm halfway through. I'm like, man, it's his fantasy corner. What are you doing?
Zach's still triggered about the ninja thing. He's like,
I gotta take it out on somebody, or I'll hang up and I'll yell at my kid for no reason.
With the
PC. I'm sorry. Continue your fantasy. I apologize.
That's right.
I'm tired, Logan. I'm tired. Black Veil Vahazak had to die, and that meant so did my sleep.
Yeah, I like the PC. I've played on my brother's a bunch of times. I played on a couple of my other friends a bunch of times. Love it. Well, I really want it.
It is more valid too, because more and more things become, at the very least, crossplay with PC compatible.
Also, I'm definitely the type of guy that just likes to grab small games, just to have fun for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bored, and I just want something new that I'm never going to play again.
Yeah.
Boom. And those are really cheap and very abundant on PC, where on Xbox, it's really hard to do that.
I'd actually say Xbox has a little, like, Switch is probably the best for the cheap, weird, nothing games that you can buy.
Yeah.
But I'd say Xbox has done a pretty good job of that with the Games Pass.
With the Games Pass, yeah.
Yeah. But that's awesome, man. That's an awesome pick. I'm not going to tear it apart in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to be a good, friendly co-host and say thank you for your contribution to the show at all times.
Oh, screw you.
All right, so that brings us to the end of episode 19. Logan, you got anything to promote this week?
No. I would say my YouTube, but I don't post too much on there.
We got to make a show together. I still want to do Destiny 2 Fail.
Yes.
I came up with a show, too. I think I'm going to do another show with Phil, if I have the time, where since he only plays Borderlands, I force him to play a game for 3 episodes that isn't Borderlands. Okay, so aside from that, shameless self-promotion. Before I get into my normal stuff, I want to say next week, please listen, it's huge. We are doing the Horrible Game of the Year Awards. We are announcing our personal Game of the Year Awards. This has been voted on by myself and Logan, as well as all of our top commenters and contributors. So it's really exciting. And personally, I don't want to ruin anything, but I feel like our awards are a little bit of a better reflection of the consumers than the actual VGAs are this year. So I'm very happy. I'm very proud of this. We've been working very hard on it all week. So please tune in. Audio next week on Thursday, and then of course the YouTube version on Friday. Aside from that, Old Man Gaming, check out everything we do. We do reviews on Monday, Disco of the Dumb on Tuesday, which is my Outer Worlds stupid playthrough, Borderlands 330, which is my playthrough of Borderlands 3 with my brother-in-law and friend of the show and resident Borderlands expert Philbilly 330. And then every Friday, come back here for a Horrible Gaming podcast and all the fun special stuff, especially next Friday. Come back next Friday. And as long as you guys keep listening to this and watching this, we will keep making it. Anything to add, Logan?
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you
listening. We love our listeners.
We do. We really do. If you comment on Facebook, you comment on YouTube, we do everything we can to read them out, and we do everything we can to involve you guys in the show. So thank you to everybody listening, and please contribute. And we'll see you guys next week.